they did not do this willingly. How this started was they did the Epstein Files Phase One, which is they just re-released a bunch of information that the public already knew and made a big deal about it.
They just put it in binders and gave it to some influencers.
You know, we've got the list. The files are on my desk, which if you can imagine a stack of 3.5 million files on someone's desk, Kash Patel comes out, Dan Bongino comes out and said, we went over everything, which is amazing for them to go through over 3 million files and read all of them and decide that there was no actionable information in any of these files whatsoever. The only reason any of this information got released is not because the Trump administration is the most transparent administration in U.S. history, as she's going to say. It's because they were forced to release this information by Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, who went around leadership and got a petition signed and forced it to the floor. One guy voted against it, unanimous consent in the Senate, and then Trump signs it into law because it would have been insane for him to not sign it into law. So here is the exchange between Thomas Massie and Pam Bondi. We'll stop this when we need to.
Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name. And you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victim's survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, Fully Redacted. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files. But he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need, that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on.
That tone.
Yeah, it's, and you're going to hear this through multiple clips that we're going to play today. Like, she's not a very good actress. She came there obviously with pre-planned statements about each person. Like we know that. Which she had already read through. She came through with a list of things that she had to say to try and pump up the administration and make Trump happy because he was going to be watching. And it was just all so obvious. You could hear it in the tone of her voice, how obvious it was. But this is a pretty big difference here. There were victims who have been outspoken about this, and there were victims who specifically said, I don't want to be involved in this. And there's a pretty good way of knowing, like, who didn't want to be involved in this, because the email from a lawyer that says these are people who don't want to be involved in this, don't release their names. And you know, as Massie said, that they looked at the document because they made redactions on the document.
It's just a couple.
Yeah, and the document is saying, here's a list of people who don't want their names released. These are victims, don't release their names. And they redact one name on it and release the rest of them. So that's one thing. And that's pretty bad for those people if they didn't want to be identified. But the other thing when it comes to Les Wexner is criminal in my mind. It honestly is. Because now...
Well, I think that's why Massie's asking the question.
Yeah.
Do you have accountability? Do we know who this person is?
Like, who went into the files and redacted his name from this? And that would be important to know. I mean, hell, they know exactly what documents different people in Congress have searched. They basically have come out and said that now. Like, they're keeping track of who's gone onto the website and what documents they've gone on there and viewed. But do we know who actually made the redactions? And her point about he's in the files. He's in the files of 4,000 times or whatever, however many times it is.
It's gaslighting.
It's different. There are many people that are in the files multiple times. Trump is in the files thousands of times. Clinton's in the files probably thousands of times. We know that. This is a specific DOJ document that lists this person as a co-conspirator with Epstein. That is a very different document. And how is it that you went through and you didn't redact his name all of these other times where his name occurs, let's say it's 4,000 times in there, but you redact his name on the document that says he's a co-conspirator? That's wild. And then she's going to come out here in a second and say, well, we released it within 40 minutes. They met with Bondi. They met with the DOJ just last week and asked specifically about documents Massie and Khanna did. And like, why is this redacted? What's redacted here? And then they unredacted them. They didn't unredact them because they're like, oh, my bad. Oops, I forgot to do this. You know, there's over 3 million documents. We're going to mess some stuff up. That wasn't what it was. This was,
I don't have my Claude bot set up just right.
They don't have that. They're not using the proper AI tools for this. If they are, definitely they're using like outdated like ChatGPT from 2022 or something to do this whole thing. and so this is intentional on their part. And I think I know why. We can play more of the video, but I'll play more of the video, and then we'll go into some of that.
Pay attention to how Pam Bondi gaslights her answers here especially by giving a little bit of the truth. Like, oh, well, we released his name 4,000 times. It's like, well, that's not what I asked you about.
Yeah.
That is not at all what I asked you about. It's all like, well, look over here. It's like, no, you're avoiding the very specific thing that I asked you about. It's like, imagine if you asked your wife or if you asked your husband, hey, did you kiss this girl? And he's like, I've kissed lots of girls.
No, it'd be more like here in a second if you asked, did you kiss this girl? And he was like, the Dow's at 50,000. What are you talking about? Why are we talking about this?
Move on.
Come on, let's talk about something important. All right, here's more of the video.
Finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time back?
Mr.
Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from Kentucky.
All right, I'm reclaiming my
Can
time.
I give my answer?
So
Yes.
I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman,
Because I
may I
have
give my
another
answer
question.
on that?
If-
It's a
Here's
political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
we'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his
Chairman,
next question.
it's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question.
You can go back
Within
to
40
duels or something?
minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and we invited.
That's even worse to her point. There was one redaction. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Right.
The one that lists him as a co-conspirator was redacted. I hit the table too hard. It made the screen go out just then. That makes it worse. It's not better. It's worse.
You know what?
You
Show
in.
the video.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
time
get
belongs
on
to the
these
Washington
matters.
Post.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules
There
here.
is no credible.
They cut into. Oh God.
Was that Kash Patel? Who was saying remind the witness of the rules here?
I don't know who is Kash. They're playing a video of Kash Patel and a video of maybe it's just the Kash Patel thing. He's going to play and make sure that she agrees with that. Yeah, the rules. By the way, he can reclaim his time. He can't this is his time, and he can do that.
And also, you're not allowed to call people names. Like,
well, what she's doing is filibustering, which a lot of Republicans want to get rid of right now. But what she's doing is filibustering because he's got a certain amount of time. And then that's
it's
it.
Not
it goes
long.
on
It's
to
like
the
7 minutes.
Well, we got a 7-minute video here. I think you get 5. I think they give him some more time because she wouldn't shut the hell up. And so you get that fixed amount of time, and then that's it. That's what you get. You got to wait until the next time you get her up there to ask her questions. And this happens all the time. It's not just Pam Bondi. They get up there and they filibuster and don't answer the question. And the things that she says, like, you've got Trump derangement syndrome. And I've heard a couple of people say that Massie has this affliction of Trump derangement syndrome. And I don't see it. Like, I thought Justin Amash, who was a pretty great congressman, I think Justin Amash had Trump derangement syndrome. He bought into the Russiagate thing, voted for impeachment, stuff like that. Massie is, first off, he took an oath to the Constitution, not to Donald Trump, not to the Republican Party, nothing
not
like
to Trump's
that.
administration.
Nothing, none of it at all. And so if voting in accordance with that oath makes it look like you have Trump derangement syndrome, then there's something wrong with the Trump administration.
He also, by the way, endorsed Trump.
He did endorse Trump.
He voted for him. He said that publicly.
And if Trump did good things, he would say, hey, that's good. We should do those good things. I agree with you. I'm going to vote. But like voting against increases in the deficit or spending or whatever, or voting against giving the government more power here or there, and that makes you have Trump derangement syndrome, screw you guys. That's a freaking, that is the lowest IQ freaking idea that you can have.
Look,
where you're just a sycophantic,
think about
insane
it in your
person for this one political figure.
Think about it in your regular life. If Nate came to me with an idea and was like, dude, I'm going to rob this bank and we're going to be rich off of this, like, whatever, don't worry about the consequences. I'd be like, Nate, that's a terrible idea. That doesn't mean that I have Nate derangement syndrome.
It means that my idea sucks.
It means that his idea is terrible. And if we implement it, it's going to be bad.
And you put your hand on the Bible and you raise your other hand and you said,
I took an
I'm
oath
not going to go against this.
not to steal things. Like, this is the stupidest argument.
All right, here's some more
It
information.
means you lost the argument.
Yeah.
None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I am reclaiming
at all
my
the
time.
last
I'm
4
glad you're
years?
asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim
because this
time when
is
you don't-
bigger than
when you can't-
Watergate.
when I don't answer a question the
This
way you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to
most
know at
transparent-
what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wexner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has
Which,
expired.
may she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
What?
What
the
does that have to do with
actual
anything?
does that have to do with a single damn thing about the Epstein files? This is an actual case where you had underage girls being trafficked, either just to Epstein or whoever else it was, and you've got a co-conspirator thing. What does this have to do with AI deep fake porn?
Also, by the way, the audacity to call him a hypocrite when you're the one who's actually participating in covering up pedophilia, large-scale, billionaire-class pedophilia. And then you have the nerve to call someone else a hypocrite because they voted for a bill likely that had a bunch of other stuff in there that Thomas Massie disagreed with, that has nothing to do with the issue at hand. This is just pure narcissistic deflection.
It's everything. Everything she did was deflection, projection, gaslighting. That's all she did the whole time. She took some breaks in there to try and pump up the Trump administration too, when she could get some time for that. And when it comes to like,
if this doesn't win, don't believe it.
Well, that's why I started with this, because I know that we had, we got a slightly limited amount of time, and I just want to make sure we're going to take as much time on this as we can, because this is the most embarrassing display I've ever seen by someone in an administration. I think this is,
and Trump thought honestly, she did great.
The fact that she has not been fired after this performance, if there was any way for me to, and there are multiple ways, like for me to lose more respect for the Trump administration, like this is how this is the lowest point that I felt for this administration right now. The fact that she did not immediately get fired after this. This was a complete embarrassment to America. And by that, I mean the United States of America. Just so you guys
Josh in the Fed Haters Club says, now that Bondi has just won Dumb Bleep of the Year, what are we going to do on Fridays for the rest of the year?
Now? What are we going to do now?
This is it. Solidified.
And she's
now,
like,
by the way,
go ahead.
We've said that before, and then something dumber has happened.
Something else happens.
If you want to be in on the Fed Haters Club and get your comment read on air, then you can do that. Go to joingml.com. Joingml.com.
She does this a lot, and I hear this a lot from people online as well. Did you ask Merrick Garland about this? The basic idea, and now specifically talking to Massie right here. You didn't care about this when Biden was in office or when Merrick Garland was the AG. And now, listen, for a bunch of the Democrats, I would say this is true. The Democrats, many of them, they don't care about this. I really don't think they do. They're doing this because they see it as a way to hurt the Trump administration, because this is a massive scandal, and I've never seen an administration deal with something in a more retarded fashion. Joe Biden could have drooled his way through this better than what this administration has done so far. This is a complete embarrassment. But Massie is asking about this because this administration was supposed to be different. They're supposed to be the most transparent administration. You have multiple people in the administration who said multiple times and hours of footage talking about this Epstein cover-up and how we were going to get the Epstein files before they get into office. Trump said he was going to release the documents. He wasn't massive on it. He wasn't really campaigning on it, but he said he was going to do it. That didn't happen with any other administrations, okay? That's why this is different, because you guys said on the way in that you were going to release all this information, that the pedos were going to go to prison, you're going to lock them all up, and you're going to get all this information out there. And then you came out there a few months later and said, oh, nothing to see here. It turns out we went through all 3.5 million files that you guys know about, and there's nothing in there, nothing to see here. The Dow's at 50,000.
And by the way, Trump may not have necessarily campaigned on it, but his entire Department of Justice did.
Yes.
Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, whatever. They all went on podcast tour after podcast tour talking about this was being one of the number one things that they were going to focus on. And these people were going to be locked up, and there was going to be accountability, and there was going to be transparency. And it's worse. It's gotten worse.
Well, they released the files, some of them that we know of. My God, they released this stuff. Think about it. We don't have the CIA's files. You think they don't have a whole tranche of files out there about this? Of course they do. With all the foreign connections and stuff that was going on with it, even if he wasn't working for them, they've got him in some files.
So Thomas Massie brings up a good point. Where is this specific file that says whether or not the DOJ, what's the reason they decided
they
not
were
to
supposed to
prosecute?
give a reason for why they did this, and why did you decide? None of that stuff got released. Here, let's see what else is in here.
The gentleman's time has expired.
She didn't answer the question.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering.
The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General's allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
All right, I have unanimous consent request.
Gentleman's recognized for a UC.
All right, this is an example. I'm submitting these 302 forms that are entirely redacted, even when you go to look at them.
Without objection.
I'm submitting a witness statement that implicates Les Wexner.
Without objection.
I'm submitting an article from the New York Times that the DOJ released nude photos and identifiable pictures of the victims. I'm submitting a letter from AG Bondi to Kash Patel, imploring him to quit keeping the files when you found out that they were keeping files from you? Because they're still redacting files that you...
Chairman, are we going to recess for votes?
Yes, we are.
All right. I think the reason they redacted Les Wexner, honestly, is because if you got a DOJ document and they're listing him as a co-conspirator in this whole thing, he's still alive. He's like 1.5 billion years old, but he's still alive. They're going to bring charges on him. What's he going to say? What's he going to say when he goes to court? That's dangerous. He's likely to drop dead of a heart attack when he's in prison, probably. They don't want to
in court.
They don't want to reopen this whole can of worms. They want to say this is all over and there's no one that can be prosecuted. And so when you got an actual document where, we decided he's a co-conspirator in this whole thing, they're not going to want to do it. Or maybe they'll fall back on that sweetheart deal that Epstein got where they said they weren't going to go after any co-conspirators, but they went after Ghislaine Maxwell. So they're clearly not adhering to this deal they made to not go after co-conspirators, which is insane that they made that kind of a deal.
I don't even think you can make that kind
like
of deal.
that's ridiculous.
Like, what judge would sign off on that?
Oh yeah, you can get him. You find a judge from the island, he'll sign anything.
But my thing is like, does the judge even have jurisdiction
over everything?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Can you make a deal? Can you sign a deal?
Apparently you can.
This isn't presidential pardon power.
Okay, here's a few more gems from this hearing from Pam Bondi, 33 seconds here. It was just constant. And you guys have seen the clips, but my God, it's so embarrassing. It's so wildly embarrassing for this to happen, and I cannot believe she still has a job. Constant deflection and projection and gaslighting. This is a hearing about the Epstein Files and a release, and the DOJ's collection of evidence, the DOJ's decision to not prosecute certain people or to prosecute other people, the DOJ's decisions to redact some things and not redact others. That's what this hearing is about. And talking about any of this other stuff is the most blatant, obvious attempt to not answer questions and to not talk about this thing, which is supposed to be very important to a lot of people. I don't know if you guys remember, but prior to Trump getting in office and prior to the DOJ coming out and saying there's nothing to see here, the Epstein Files are a pretty important thing for people on the right. That pretty important. This was going to bring down all these rich, evil, elite people in either government or corporations or foreign governments or whoever it was. This is supposed to be a very important thing. And it's just, the deflection is just, God bless.
The same level of facility. I don't know why, but instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
I have a couple of
died on a subway.
Right, and I absolutely...
You don't talk about that.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues. But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because...
Yes, that's what this is.
You're the witness.
Yes, you're up there right now. We're not going to talk about Irina Zarutska or whatever the heck the girl's terrible, sad, awful, tragic situation where this girl gets killed on a subway. That happened like a month or so before Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's like all people were talking about. It's not about that. This is not the Rinsky Files. That's not what we're talking about.
All right, Biden.
I don't remember her name.
What are we talking about? Epstein, yeah. Oh.
You're up here.
I got a whole box of his files in my garage.
You're on the stand as the Attorney General of the United States to talk about this thing. Yes, we're going to move on to talking about you and your job performance. That's what this is.
Yeah.
God bless. Oh, okay.
You were really amped up. I guess you
calm down.
You weren't allowed to be in the courtroom for the entire time of my divorce trial.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we get here. We got a how dare you out of her.
It's done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files.
I'm claim my time. I got your answer. You said there's no.
He's the one who asked that those files be released. Really?
He didn't say to move on?
Yeah. He was super nice to the guy that was forcing Congress to vote on releasing the files, too.
He's trying to get him out of Congress.
The lies are just, and this is typical in government, what I never really witnessed before was not join, I didn't like become MAGA or anything, but I voted for Trump. And there for a minute, I was on like the same side as a bunch of these people that are doing their right-wing thing, and I'd never experienced that before. It was kind of cool to actually vote for someone and they won, Never had that before as a libertarian. It was pretty cool. But then to watch those people turn around and listen to lies, and you have to know that they know that she's lying about things, right? But to not care because it's your guy.
Isn't lying to Congress, isn't that a crime?
Yeah, that is a crime, yeah. Let me see here.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock.
That's like the only crime that people get in trouble for, actually.
legislation. This is
Time
ridiculous.
time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up.
No, never mind. No, never mind. Never mind.
Another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein files.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims.
Now, if there is a witness to this to talk to, they should follow up with that witness and dig into this and see what happened. I do have to push back a little bit on him that there are multiple instances of people calling in the tip line and giving some kind of testimony.
I'm going to push back further.
That does not.
All of that's hearsay.
Yeah, that does not.
That it wouldn't be admissible.
I'm not saying it's not true, but that's not enough. That is not proof of Trump committing a crime. A witness coming out and saying that this thing happened. It's just not. You might believe it's true. You might think it's possible. You might think it's probable.
But you should talk to the witness. You should investigate the girl's life. Figure out if there's any type of connection. Maybe she has some messages on her phone with Ghislaine Maxwell or something. Like, there are ways in which you can investigate this type of thing to see if there's some type of link.
Oh, did I miss something, Magoo? Is it the actual witness that blew her head off, or I thought they were saying that the original girl was the one who died? Did they say the witness died?
No, the girl blew her head off.
Okay, not the witness though.
Not the person who called in the tip.
Yeah. Okay. just double checking. Okay, that was a good one there. Let's see, we got a couple more.
Well, this whole, I can't wait till we get done with this. I got to say something really funny and important. But I just think it's hilarious. How dare you accuse me of a crime, or don't you dare accuse me of whatever she said. It's like, all right, well, you're the one on the witness stand.
Yeah.
Here, they're allowed to ask you questions. They're allowed to insinuate things.
Certainly can.
I think this is like the worst way you could ever handle something like this.
Yeah.
To behave like a toddler.
If she would have gone in there like calm, level-headed, like a man.
Well, we know men can not be level-headed too.
Answered answered the questions, given an answer like, "Oh, I don't know," or "We're going to look into that," or "Yeah, we weren't supposed to release the victim name." That's what happens. We had a 30-day deadline that we broke multiple times, but there's over 3.5 million documents. What do you expect? We only had time to redact one name on that paper. It would have taken way more time.
We're doing the best we can. Yes, I'm looking into why this was released.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been released.
Or like we looked into that, it turns out it wasn't credible. Anything like that. Anything other than you have Trump derangement syndrome, or how dare you accuse me
You're
of
a
a
failed
crime,
politician.
or you voted against an AI deep fake porn video, or you lied about your military service, like she's about to say to this guy right here. Let's just get that example.
Head of the law firm where you worked was instrumental in lobbying the Justice Department to drop that lawsuit. It was dismissed, so it's not subject to a court review. What conversations did you have with Mr. Ballard?
Senator Blumenthal, I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service.
I am
you
not
lied.
asking
You
you.
admitted you
I am
lied
not
to be
accusing you
elected
of
a U.S. senator.
impropriety.
You
I'm asking
lied.
you
How
about
dare you? I'm a career prosecutor.
with Mr.
Don't you
Ballard,
ever challenge my
who
integrity.
had
We don't need to challenge it. Your integrity's on full display, and let me tell you something. It sucks. It's one of the worst I've seen. I've seen worse, but it's one of the worst.
I apologize to everyone who's here for a full spectrum of dumb bleep with like 10, 15 different entries and stuff. It's not going to happen today. We're going to get to a couple more if we can. It's just not going to happen. Prepare yourself.
I have to do a part 2 on Monday.
Yeah, we could do part 1 and part 2.
But no one's going to vote for anything else anyway.
I mean,
this is the dumbest thing I've seen.
Can we get unanimous consent here?
Any objections?
Let's see. No one's called someone an anti-Semite yet, so let's get to that part.
Here, didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once. When he was
Weak sauce.
And also, I want the record to reflect that, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh, he is Jewish. I just want to be.
First off, and the person she's talking to is about to one-up the retardedness of this, just so you guys know. But what does that have?
2 women fighting?
She tries to give a segue in which there is none. Well, she's doing the standard deflection of you didn't say anything while Biden was in office. And also, with this culture of anti-Semitism that we're all dealing with right now, you voted against a measure, which, by the way, would have essentially called like criticism of the state of Israel or their tactics against Gaza as like anti-Semitism. And so, yeah, it was
Which
a
is
stupid
against,
bill.
Yeah, freedom of speech.
And so...
The thing I hate the most, though, is like, if you guys hear this, like, imagine being Pam Bondi's husband for a second. Like, imagine getting in a fight with this girl.
Oh, my gosh.
Where she's like, not once, not once.
You know that when her voice gets higher pitched.
I would.
The nerve. I can't believe. How dare you?
Not once.
Do people?
I'd be like, I'll show you not once.
And I'm sorry, man.
I will drive myself off a cliff.
There are people who listened to this and thought it was awesome. They thought she just destroyed these people because they don't care about the content of it anymore, even though they probably cared a lot about the content like a year ago. They don't care about it anymore because Trump has snapped his fingers and told them not to care about the content anymore. Who thought that she just did an awesome job providing, honestly, just sound bites to influencers on social media. But then the Congresswoman one-ups here, and maybe not one-ups, but she at least
get her own dumb bleep.
She at least matches the dumb here.
Oh, do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust.
My time.
Really?
The committee will be in order.
I'm sorry, but you could have lost your grandfather. And first off, like it's not like she was at home and she was like, "Oh, poor granddad out there at the Holocaust. Hope he comes back soon."
Yeah.
Okay. No, she heard about this story. you could still be anti-Semitic even if your grandpa died during the Holocaust. Like, it's still possible for that to happen. But for her to like pull one of my grandparents died in the Holocaust, therefore I can't possibly be an anti-Semitic person.
Look, I tell you what, though, it's a good card to pull. If somebody accuses
That's a pretty
you,
good one.
Somebody accuses you of being anti-Semitic.
Yeah. I mean,
like when they accuse Dave Smith, he's like, I'm a Jew.
He's Jewish. And every time he says that, I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a good card to pull, though.
Yeah. It'd be like if I pulled out being the, the eighth Asian every time.
What was I doing the other day? I should have just been watching this the whole time. This is some of the best TV I've seen in a long time.
It's ridiculous.
The way she got up and pushed her stuff back.
But then,
whatever congresswoman that was.
But then if all that wasn't enough,
perhaps the dumbest thing.
There aren't any words that I haven't already said, or that Charlie hasn't already said, that can explain my feelings on this clip. Because when you take all the deflection and the gaslighting, the projection and all that, and wrap it all up into one, feed it to Claude bot, and then have it regurgitate an even more what it deems effective form of deflection, or a more ridiculous form of deflection, it's this clip right here. And this is the kind of clip that in a just world, in a society that's on the right path, it gets you fired. Like, she should have gotten a text. He should have fired her over Truth Social during this. But honestly,
it's that retarded.
You want to know what the sad part is? She probably just read something that he told her to read while she was in the hearing. By he, I mean Trump, obviously. It's just...
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee.
Oh, man.
Feel how you want to feel about I don't know what Epstein survivors are in the room right there, but there were some there. I don't know who they are. I don't know their stories. I'm not going to judge right now whether or not they're, credible, not credible, whatever. But you can imagine you got like these, and she's like, yeah, there are victims. There's hundreds at least of victims and survivors.
And you have the leader of the Department of Justice, of the United States of America Department of Justice.
And while those people are in the room with you, and you're on TV and you're saying what we should be talking about right now is that the Dow just hit 50,000.
And keeping America safe. Well, not those victims. You're not talking about keeping those victims safe. Who are you talking about keeping safe? Who are you keeping safe? The billionaires?
I don't know who.
The powerful? The elite?
At this point, it's so many lies on top of lies. Like, I don't even know what the rationale behind it anymore is, because it could have started with something simple, like, I don't want my friend Les Wexner to get in trouble, or I like my pal Bubba and I don't want to see him go to prison, or whoever. It could have started with something like that, or it could have started with, we've got this information. Wouldn't it be cool if we leverage this information to get some cool stuff from some of these people that are in the files? That'd be cool, like tariffs, and we're leveraging the Epstein files at the same time, whatever. That'd be cool. And then...
and maybe it's like, well, I like Bill Clinton. I hang out with him. He's a good guy.
Yeah. And then they lie about stuff. They say, oh, we don't have any evidence, or, the co-conspirator thing is a pretty big deal right there, because if you do have evidence enough to put him down as a co-conspirator, then why are there no charges or investigation being done on that right now? The guy, he's 88 years old, but he's still alive. Still put old people in prison. That's fine. I think either they're covering up this massive thing that's just gotten ridiculous, or they're just piling lies on top of lies to try and prevent themselves from going to prison. But I can't see that as a reason, because clearly, clearly most people in this administration are going to get pardoned at the end of this term. And that's Biden's fault. Like that's what's going to happen. Most of the people in this administration are going to get pardoned. And
a blanket, blanket pardon. Is this it on Pam Bondi? Because I have something I want to say.
Well, I had a couple things in here like
let me just tell you what this reminds me of. This is a little bit personal, but I just want to tell you what this reminds me of. Reminds me of just a couple weeks ago when I was at my divorce trial, and my ex tried to redefine what lying meant on the witness stand. On the witness stand, she was asked about whether or not she lied, which she admitted previously that she did lie multiple times, to then being asked on the witness stand during trial whether or not she lied to me. Her answer was to redefine the definition of lying. And if you've never been through something like that, then you can't get on the same level as me of empathizing with listening to this woman. So,
and just so you know, which we shouldn't talk about this too much, but there's a chance that was bought by
a female judge,
by people in the court. I'd be careful.
I'm asking a question.
Yeah. Yes, that is who I was referring to, not who you're referring to or implying that was my statement.
I'm trying to ask you what you mean by that.
Yeah. Claude Thompson's gone off the rails right now, everyone. Okay, we got to pull it back a little bit.
Well, I'm AI. This is not even real.
We stated that at the beginning of the show.
Exactly.
That this was not Charlie Thompson.
It's Claude Thompson.
We could not have been more clear about it. Oh, my God. Here we are with 12 minutes left of having Charlie with us. And then I have to decide whether or not I'm going to go alone or I'm just going to push off to Monday for the rest of the show. Yes.
Claude has to go
yes,
early.
Sorry. I already broke character. I have to decide that. And I'm leaning towards pushing off and making this part one because it's so much better when you're here than when I'm just trying to do it by myself. And that's what I'm leaning towards. But let's see if we can run over this last thing real quick, and we'll have to suspend.
I want to wrap something up because I want to tell people that one thing I was thinking about as you're talking to your friends that are angry about Epstein or that were angry about COVID or whatever. This is really just exposing the corruption that has existed within the federal government for a very long time. And there is a better way. You can use this anger to source and fuel a better way, which is the liberty way, which is the freedom way, which is reducing the power of government, where people who have money or influence cannot influence a powerful government to get away with things that you can't get away with. That's the answer. That's the solution. It's not passing more laws. It's not creating oversight committees. It's not creating oversight committees for the oversight committees. It's not doing any of those things. It's literally taking away the power that these people have over your life, but on the reverse, the power they have to make some people's lives easier so they can get away with something as evil as children. Let me say that again. The power to help people get away with something as evil as children. And not only that, some of the co-conspirators seem, allegedly, end up as the very powerful people who make laws that affect your very life. Just
Pretty
think
crazy.
about that for a second. And I know all of you that listen to this show get it. Most of you anyway. Maybe you're tuning in for the first time. Most of you guys get this. But this is something you can talk to your friends about. There's a better way. There's been a better way. There's been a better way for this, for COVID, for Iraq War, 9/11, you name it. There's been a better way. And we have the better way. We have the moral high ground.
I've got an easier, this is on top of what you're saying. Absolutely correct. But it's even easier than what you just said. We're already doing it right now. All you need is for people to realize that they cannot just blindly trust the government. And I'm not talking about who's in power, who's not in power, the institution of government itself. Because what we sometimes forget, small government people to no government people like us sometimes forget is that the overwhelming majority of most people out there in the world trust in this institution of government, and that it is, not always perfect, but always working towards just and worthwhile goals. And it just takes something. For me, as I've said before, it was 9/11. And honestly, it was the string of 9/11 conspiracy videos that I was watching on YouTube nonstop for a long time that it was just so, it was transformational to me. Just the idea. The idea was you cannot just blindly trust the government. Or it was a question. Can you really trust your government all the time? And the answer to that question to me was no. Now, I've moved off of the 9/11 stuff, okay? I'm not like a 9/11 truther or anything, but we should talk about that sometime. Seriously. But that,
I'll tell you what,
I moved
man.
off of that, but what stuck around for me was the distrust of the institution of government itself. And that's all it took. It wasn't a 9/11 truther video and here's why we need to take away power from the government and do spending and taxation is theft. And we need to take away this department and that department. That stuff happens naturally on its own, as long as you plant that seed of distrusting the government. And that might be the most important thing that someone like Thomas Massie has done for this generation. Even if no one else gets arrested or whatever, or justice for the victims or whatever that even is. But if a certain portion of this generation and all the other people who are watching right now learn that lesson, that you cannot blindly just trust your government all the time, that will lead to many things that we will agree with. You'll learn that there's not the right oversight committee, or should you really give them this money to do this, that, or the other thing? Then you start, is it even right for them to do this? For them to take these things from me in the first place? Is this whole system just at all? Is it necessary at all? All those things are going to flow down from this idea that, wow, your multiple governments, Republican and Democrat, have been working together to conceal a child sex trafficking operation for decades, because it implicated multiple high-level individuals and probably their own intelligence agencies in multiple governments as well. And so they allowed that to keep going. That is a white pill to take from this whole thing, honestly.
I'll tell you what, man, I can't even trust my DMV.
No.
Just a local little
man.
DMV shop.
No. The kind of encryption they have there.
Last time I got my license, I called them up and I said, look, what do I need to bring in? And they gave me the list. So I brought my birth certificate, my passport, and a vial of blood, my old license, and all this stuff. I show up there to get my license, and I give them all the stuff, and then they look at me like, well, we can't give you your license. You didn't bring a printout of the Dow. I was supposed to bring a printout of the Dow.
To see what it was at.
To see what it was at with all that.
Yeah.
So I don't have a license.
Yeah. Next time you get pulled over by a cop, by the way, sir, the Dow is at $52,000. Why aren't we talking about that right now? That's what we should be talking about, not the fact that I just accidentally hit and run that old lady that was trying to cross the street. That is ridiculous.
Who is that?
Come on. Yeah. You have Nate derangement syndrome.
In fact, the problem is I was looking at the Dow on my phone, and she just happened to be out in the middle of the road. Whose fault is that?
So with that, we will suspend the rules over the weekend. We will suspend Dumb Bleep over the weekend. We will keep it suspended until
probably
Monday.
Declare upon Pam Bondi the winner.
But
this
is...
you want to put her up against a few other submissions?
It is good to have at least the image of a choice, like our elections. It's at least it's good to give the fine people in the Fed Haters Club the illusion of choice when it comes to this, and everyone listening, that they will be able to choose between Pam Bondi and Laura Ingraham, or that random sheriff who doesn't know what branch of government sheriffs are in, or whatever other things that they might want to vote for. It's going to be Pam Bondi, but we'll see.
Before we go, can you pull up Trading View so we can see what the Dow closed at today for the user?
Oh man, I got bad news, Charlie.
Oh,
I
no.
got bad news for all of the people operating child sex trafficking rings out there because Pam Bondi is about to come after you.
You're gonna have to blow that up. We can't. I can't see
this
it.
This is bad news for them. Yeah, turns out.
Wait, so she mentioned the Dow and it went down.
As you can see, the votes were. Oh, this is a free version. The votes were cast, and everyone wants to see prosecution. So as soon as she said that, the Dow topped out, and the votes were cast to push it down below 50,000. And now we're going to bring her back up in the Congress and see if her story has changed. We'll see.
So what's the Dow at? I can't.
49,500.
Oh shoot.
That's not good.
Up. We want it up.
I know. With that kind of numbers, you got to be careful. People are going to start caring about child sex trafficking rings. And so we're going to need to pump those numbers back up.
That's true. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do all the things I said or don't. I don't really care, but Nate does. If you do, we'll be back again on Monday. Hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.